Okay, today I'm doing another reaction to an HVAC scam investigation video. Today's a very special video because the host of this one is none other than Chris Hanson, the host of To Catch a Predator. And although we won't be going after pedophiles today, we will still be going after predators. I'm Al Wren. I've been in the trade for 15 years and I own an HVAC company. As always, I'm here with my partner in crime, Maya, the HVAC dog. Maya, say hi. She says hi. Like, subscribe, or don't, because I'm not your damn boss. And leave a comment on what you want to see next. I'm thinking of making some instructional videos, maybe how to install an Ecobee, how to install a Nest, how to do maintenance. So let me know what you want to see next, and let's get into it.
As the warm months approach, it's time to make sure the central air conditioning is ready to go. That's no truer than in Scottsdale, Arizona, where summer temperatures can reach more than 100 degrees. And where the competition among air conditioning repair companies is fierce. Offers like this, a full inspection for a modest $39.99, are common.
The cheap tune-up. This is a pretty common practice across the board. Here's how it works. For $39, $49, they come in, they'll do a full tune-up on a system. They come into your place, and all of a sudden they're upselling you on new capacitors, new contactors, new filters, new humidifiers. If the price seems too good to be true, you can bet your sweet ass it is.
Jenny and her boyfriend Eric let us borrow their house and equip it with hidden cameras.
I gotta say before we continue, I love Chris Hanson's voice. I'm just praying to God he hits someone with the, why don't you have a seat like he does on the other show, because it will make my day.
The house has 2 air conditioning units. This one is just a few years old. The other is more than 20 years old, but still works fine. Our experts cleaned and tuned up both units, topped them off with coolant.
Okay, that's hilarious because topping up the system is highly illegal. I think there's a $50,000 fine, prison time. Refrigerant is terrible for the environment. We want as little as that going up into the atmosphere. If you're gonna go to a house to do a leak repair, you have to actually do your best to rectify the leak before you just start pumping gas in. Because the last thing they want is more refrigerant pouring into the atmosphere. So the guys who will walk around with a jug of refrigerant, charging $200-300 to just top up the system, when they get dinged, they get dinged.
And after replacing a part in the older unit, a minor repair, Jenny's AC system got a clean bill of health.
It's good operating condition right now.
I can tell you right off the bat, a couple guys are gonna walk in here, see the 20-year-old unit, and they're gonna be licking their chops because they know with a lot of people, that's an easy sale. The truth is, the lifespan of a furnace is 15-ish years, and if you get anything more than that, you're on borrowed time. But still, I'm curious to see how these guys react when they see the unit, because I can guarantee you at least 1 or 2 of them are gonna end up trying to push her on a new unit, even though she might not technically need one. It's not a bad idea to upgrade, but doesn't mean she needs anything.
Hey there, I'm looking to schedule a tune-up with you guys for this Thursday.
She began by answering this ad from a company called Ace Air. On the phone, Jenny said she thought nothing was wrong with her AC units and just wanted the advertised inspection.
You both for $54.90.
She was told servicing both air conditioning units would cost $54.90 and not a dime more.
Okay, they're gonna come and tune up 2 units for $54.90. Think about that for a second, it doesn't make any sense. So I guarantee you they're gonna walk in there. The first thing they're gonna do is try to sell her a new capacitor, maybe a new contactor, new filters, whatever, because you can't make money sending guys from house to house at $54.
Here comes Tim, the technician from Ace Air.
Hi there. How are you?
Good.
As Tim goes to work,
Compressor isn't too high.
Yeah.
we're watching it all from the control room upstairs.
Your Freon charge is perfect. This is where your high pressure in the unit is.
Okay.
So what is he actually doing now?
He was checking the ratings of the capacitors.
What does the capacitor do?
Regulates power to its motors.
But despite what our expert said, he has bad news for Jenny.
It's a capacitor. It's testing bad.
Tim says Jenny should replace a part called a capacitor.
Okay, the capacitor, probably the most frequently changed part. It basically stores a small amount of energy, and then when the motor and the compressor are kicked on, the energy is released to give the motor the kick in the butt to get going. It also helps with amperage and efficiency and whatnot. But by far the most common thing to go down, that's actually good practice to be testing the capacitors. It's what we do when we do our maintenances as well. The problem is that it's such an easy part to sell and such an easy part to place, and the margins are really good, so guys are itching to sell them.
What I recommend, change this capacitor, do a coil clean.
He also suggests she have the coils cleaned. Coils carry the coolant.
And the coil clean is what?
About 90.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about, right? They come in, $54, and all of a sudden you need your coils cleaned, you need your contactor changed, you need your capacitor changed. She's about to get hit with a $300 bill, and she don't need it.
But we actually had the capacitors and coils checked the day before, and they were just fine.
Timmy, you scumbag.
$54.90.
Jenny gives Tim the go-ahead to do the work.
So your total right there.
$372.05. Okay.
It's just
That's when I come downstairs.
Got your check here. 37205. How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Tim quickly realizes who I am.
I'll bet you Tim never thought he was going to be standing across the table from Chris Hanson. This is what we call in the business a bad day in the office.
yeah, you're freaking me out.
Okay, relax. You gave this young woman a lot of good, honest information today. Okay.
Yeah, Chris Hanson, right?
I am Chris Hanson. How are you?
Nice to
How
meet
you
you.
doing? Good. So let me
watch
just.
your show.
Thank you very much. We're doing a story on the quality of work people get when they call service people to their homes. You know, we have cameras around.
sure.
You know.
I know how it works.
Okay.
Tim explains that because Jenny's unit is old, he just wanted to make sure it lasted through the summer.
Capacitors are #1 reason for breakdown in
Sure.
Arizona.
And because the capacitors looked old, he says his suggestion to replace them was simply a preventative measure.
What I recommend is change this capacitor and change the capacitor upstairs.
The impression that I got listening in was that the capacitors were bad and needed to be replaced. I mean, that's what I took out of it.
Oh, yeah? Well, that's not necessarily what I meant. I meant more that they're old, they're rusted, they should be replaced.
Okay, rust on a capacitor doesn't really mean much. These things are made of metal and they're out in the elements. They're going to rust and it's expected that they're going to rust. So these things are built to be weatherproof and built to be able to take a little bit of rust.
Did we get our money's worth?
I don't think you did, mainly because the capacitors were operationally fine.
Remember, most homeowners don't have experts in the upstairs bedroom. Jenny could have been out almost $400. Next, we did something else. We wanted to know what would happen if we did something to the system that should be very easy to fix. Would a repairman be able to diagnose a simple problem? So the expert pulled out these fuses by just an inch, cutting all power to the system.
Okay, pulling out the fuses, essentially killing the breaker, so that's just going to kill power to the unit. Probably the easiest thing you can diagnose. These things do happen. Sometimes things can slip out of place and you can lose power. Within 30 seconds, this guy should figure out exactly what's going on here.
He says any credible technician should be able to find the problem and push the fuses back in. Will Raphael from George Brazil Air Conditioning figure it out?
I gotta say, I have a very good feeling about Raphael. I just like the cut of his jib. I really hope he does well. Rafi, I'm rooting for you, buddy.
Bingo. He sees the problem and fixes it.
Oh, he's got it running. Now what's he gonna tell the lady?
On top of that, now that he knows it was just a loose fuse, he tells Jenny her system is fine, even the old unit. And listen to this.
Okay, so how much do I owe you?
Rafi, I knew I liked you, buddy. It's a good dude right there.
Will George from America's Comfort Heating and Cooling do the same?
I really don't think he will. I don't have a lot of faith in George, guys.
He quickly finds the loose fuses, pushes them back in, and does his inspection.
Okay, he's capable, but is he a scumbag? That is actually the question of the hour. I should actually make a name for this series, like Scumbags with Screwdrivers or something like that.
But instead of telling Jenny the job's done, he has some bad news.
You have a leak somewhere.
Her system, he says, is leaking Freon, the coolant inside the air conditioner.
So there's a leak.
Oh yeah, 100%. There's a leak.
George says dealing with a leak could get expensive, especially if it's in the long, snaking coil where the Freon circulates.
You're looking probably about $1,500 to replace the coil. Either we can look for the leak and fix the leak, and if it's in one of the coils, then it's not worth it. It's just worth getting rid of the whole thing.
Okay.
Then there's the cost of adding Freon.
We have to recharge the system, so you're looking at probably about $1,900.
$1,900. Okay.
And how would the cost of that repair compare to getting a brand new air conditioning unit?
It's $3,826.
$3,826.
Okay, refrigerant leaks. Probably the worst case scenario in an AC repair situation. Chasing leaks takes forever. It's really difficult. It's time consuming. Sometimes what will happen is the leak will be the indoor coil, the evaporator coil, or the outdoor coil, which is a condenser coil, in which case you're swapping the coil more than likely anyhow. What ends up happening is you end up paying almost as much as a new unit. So in a lot of cases, we'll give people a couple options. Either, yeah, we'll chase your leak down. We have to remove all your refrigerant, fill the system with nitrogen, pressurize it, find the leak, remove that nitrogen, put it into a vacuum, and then fill it back up. Or you can swap a unit. The issue becomes this: if it takes all day to find the leak at $100 an hour or $150 an hour, $90 an hour, or whatever the guy happens to be charging, plus the cost of refrigerant, you could end up paying an absorbent amount. So a lot of times, if your unit's over 10 years and you have a bad leak, just swap it and be done with it.
That's $3,826.
Bottom line, what do we need to do?
I would replace.
Okay, George would replace. George would replace because George is on a commission-based system. This is another issue in the industry. A lot of these techs are not just techs, but they're also commission-based sales guys. And the problem with commission-based sales in this kind of industry, it is so easy to take advantage of somebody. And this is what's happening with the old Georgie boy here.
We just replace it, okay. Crap. We're talking the whole thing. All right, stay here and I'll be right back.
Okay.
It's time for me to have a chat with George.
George, Chris, what exactly is wrong with the air conditioning unit?
I think it's just a little bit low on Freon.
Oh, George, now you think it's a little bit low on Freon. Isn't that interesting?
I don't know how low it is.
But what you told Jenny is that it's about half empty of Freon.
Yeah, I think it's about half 50. But like I said again, I have to weigh it all in. That's why I can't give her a price on the Freon.
I understand that.
What is this, man? You guys trying to test us here?
Actually, I am.
Yeah?
See, here's something that you need to know, George.
I feel like right now, like in To Catch a Predator, when they get caught and they come out like 3 cameras, this guy's about to lose his shit.
George, we had that system tested. The only issue with that system is that the fuse... George, come on, I want to talk to you.
They're doing it. Bad day at the office, George.
George sees our cameras and quickly heads to the door.
George, I'm Chris Hanson with Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story on the quality of service.
You got a 20-year-old unit, man.
There must not be any worse feeling than getting caught red-handed to be on TV in front of 1 million people trying to screw your customers. That is, I'm having a great time. This guy is not so great.
The AC guy just got here.
Here comes our next technician, Tony, from Abode Air.
Ooh, Tony is a handsome devil.
All of a sudden, I can feel air, but it's not cool.
Tony comes in and after meeting
Tony looks very confused, I'm not gonna lie.
Jenny, heads back outside, checks himself out, and gets his tools. But how carefully does he check out the air conditioner? He appears to examine the circuit board and take some notes, but he never spots the loose fuses we deliberately pulled out. Instead, he jumps on the fact that it's an older unit and says he's found an entirely new problem.
How's it look?
Well, you got some bad news on the older one.
I do.
Yeah, it has that, what we call an LRA. It's a locked up rotor amp.
Tony tells Jenny that the problem is something called a locked rotor amp.
Okay, Tony's kind of full of shit. So LRA, or locked rotor amp, is the measure of amperage that can be expected in the motor when it's... Okay, get going. It's a measure of amperage when the motor does its initial startup. When the motor's already moving, there's some momentum. So there's much less amperage required to get that thing going. But when it's starting from a fixed position, like a starting position, so it's been off all day and all of a sudden you turn on your compressor, now it needs to get all these things moving at the same time. So it needs a lot more power at once. LRA is a level of amperage that's acceptable to get that motor going. It's usually 5 to 6 times the amount of the running amperage.
Jenny that the problem is something called a locked rotor amp, meaning her motor isn't working.
Okay, so it's just bad.
Yeah,
The unit is completely bad.
Yeah, it's just bad.
It's shot.
I love how she just baits him. So it's shot then. It's bad then, is it, Tony? Tony boy?
Yeah.
Tony's best advice, get a new unit.
Do you know how much a new unit would cost? Just a rough estimate.
We'll say 5,000, rough estimate.
$5,000? Remember, all that's wrong are the loose fuses.
Hey, how are you?
So I head downstairs to speak with Tony.
So all in, what do you estimate this will cost?
Probably about 5,200.
$5,200. Good, and that's the estimate right there?
Yeah, I gotta still finish filling it out.
Well, let me, Tony, before you go, there's something that I need to tell you.
Sure.
I'm really not the man of the house. I'm Chris Hanson with Dateline NBC.
Okay.
And we're doing a story on the quality of service provided by repairmen.
They hit him with the camera right in the face. I bet you Tony is sweating.
And the mechanics come to the house.
Sure.
And so a couple things. Go ahead, have a seat, relax.
He told him to have a seat. Best episode.
Okay.
A couple questions.
No, in fact, I'm not gonna have a seat. I gotta get things buttoned up.
Well, I'll walk with you.
Please,
because there's something I want to show you. Can I show you one thing?
Go ahead. Oh, the disconnect.
Works just fine now.
Yeah, it does.
All you had to do was check right
Push it
there.
in, yeah.
Good to go.
Yeah. I didn't push the fuse in, but
Well, why didn't you push it in?
because I didn't notice that it was sticking out.
So in a way, I kind of feel bad for Tony because, yeah, he was trying to make a commission, but actually, I don't even think he was capable of diagnosing the problem. That's actually not on him, it's on his boss who sent out a technician who's not capable of diagnosing a problem.
First, when someone gives you the bad news, get a second opinion.
So this is a must-do right now.
But one of the best ways to find someone who knows their stuff is by word of mouth. Get a referral from someone who's had a good repair experience. That way, the odds of finding someone you can trust will go way up.
Okay, that's great advice. Old Chris Hanson here is absolutely right. The absolute best way that you can get good service is to go through a referral. So number one, ask a friend, a neighbor, whatever, if they've used someone. Number two, check the reviews, Google, Yelp, all that. Believe me, if you do a great job, someone's gonna give you a decent review some of the time. If you screw someone, they're jumping right to Google reviews right away. It's much harder to get a good review than it is to get a bad review, so it's a powerful tool. Facebook community groups is huge. Believe me, I see it when I go on the groups that I'm part of, and someone says, hey, I need some help, I need an AC repair guy, and my name and some other guys' names get thrown out there over and over and over. Then you have the opportunity to ask some questions about the person and how they were. So, very good tool to have. That's it for today. Like, subscribe, do it, don't do it, not your damn boss. And leave a comment what you liked, what you didn't like, and what you want to see next. I'm really curious. Okay, bye.